I'm Michael Essenburg of Close the Gap Now, and I'd like to talk with you about using a coaching approach to empower others. I want to empower others. I want to empower others to unleash their gifts for God, to pursue their God-given calling. I know you do too. And something I found helpful to empower others is using a coaching approach, and I'd like to share the coaching approach or model that I use and have had some success with. So imagine that you're in a conversation with your friend. You're talking and he's sharing what's on his heart. And he's letting you know that he wants to work on his values, he wants to work on focusing more, he wants to find ways to work smarter, he wants to have better relationships, he wants to pursue his God-given calling more effectively. Now, you could approach this situation as a mentor or a counselor, an expert, a consultant, and what I found helpful is to approach this as a coach. And that starts with having the coach's heart. So what's involved in having a coach's heart? A coach's heart is represented by certain beliefs. Beliefs like this: God is growing his people and the Holy Spirit is involved at work in every believer. Or beliefs like people really do want to grow and they're empowered by people who believe in them. Coach's heart involves believing that growing really is more about motivation than information. It's really more about motivation than information. And a coach believes that people really do grow as they take responsibility to define their goals and take action to achieve them. Now, out of this coach's heart, out of a set of beliefs like this, you would use certain skills. You would use 4 skills, for example. You'd listen, inquire, focus, and encourage. Now, you'll notice that these 4 words have blue letters at the front that spell life, so I call these life skills. And the first one is listen. You listen instead of talking. In coaching, you listen about 80+% of the time instead of talking as you might in another mode of interaction. And you're going to inquire, you're going to ask questions, and you're going to ask questions instead of giving suggestions. Thirdly, you're going to focus. You're going to focus on your client, you're going to focus your client on thinking through the situation, and you're going to do that kind of focusing instead of giving advice. And you're going to encourage. You're going to encourage your client to think. You're going to prod your client, and you're going to do that in positive kinds of ways. You're going to encourage your client instead of critiquing what they're saying. You're going to use those 4 skills, life skills, through a 4-part process. Here it is: goal, reality, options, will-dos. And you'll notice again that the first letters of each of these 4 phases is highlighted and it spells grow. This is the grow process: goal, reality, options, will-dos. Now, you'd start a coaching conversation by inviting your friend to identify what goal or goals he wants to work on. And you'd ask, well, what's your goal? What do you want to accomplish in our conversation? Then you would get the person to think through the reality. And you do that by asking a question. So what's going on? What's the reality of the situation? How is God using this in your life? What are other perspectives on the situation? Once the client or your friend has really thought through the situation well, raised his awareness well, you would invite him to think about things he can do. Brainstorm options, O for options, of things he can do. And you'd ask, well, what could you do to move forward on your goal? And what else could you do? And encourage them to try to come up with, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe more options of things they can do. And then finally, you'd ask them, well, what will you do? That's the W in the grow, will do. What will you do to move forward on your goal? And ask them to come up with 2 or 3 steps that they can take to actually move forward on their goal. Because by the end of this, you want them to know some things that they can do to move forward on their values, or focusing more, or working smart, or having better relationships, or pursuing God's calling. So if you want to empower others more, I'd encourage you to consider using a coaching approach. It focuses on your friend or on the client. It flows from a certain set of beliefs. You use 4 skills, life skills, and those are applied throughout a process, the grow process of goal, reality, options, and will-dos.